Hey guys, welcome back to the hillside. As you can tell, we are inside the hillside jungle and it is getting towards fall. It is the first week of September here, so it's time to start repotting some of the cuttings and plants you had to get them ready for overwintering inside your home. Now, for example, this is a cutting I took from this mother plant here, this rubber tree, and I did show you the video on that. So this is probably 8 months later. And you can see the plant is doing quite well. It's putting out new growth, which is a nice cool pink color. This plant actually, I'm not sure what happened with it, but it didn't really grow much at all during the summer until just now where it's getting to be fall. You can even see on the mother plant, 2 new sheaths are coming out right here. So for some reason this plant is starting to grow in the fall and winter time and was pretty much dormant during the summer, so not really sure what's going on there. But before we get started with the repotting, first let me show you some of my awesome new cuttings I have that I've added to my hillside tropical plant collection, just adding to the jungle and the fun we have here at the hillside. So let's go ahead and check those out right now. Alright, so first up, what we have here is the Cebu blue pothos. So once I got these were all unrooted cuttings. And this is a really awesome plant. It does need very high humidity, and by the name indicating Cebu, which means it is from, I believe, native to the Philippines, which is a truly very jungle, very humid environment. So do try to give this as much humidity as possible. And as you can tell, it is finally put on a new growth. This new leaf right here is looking very healthy, so very promising. The Cebu blue pothos. All right, so continuing the new tropical plant cutting tour. This is the Treubeii Moonlight. Alright, so again, I don't know much about this other than the coloration on it was really cool. It's this almost silvery frosted kind of look. And you know, it's going to fit in well here with the high humidity, as you maybe even tell by looking at some of the footage earlier. This, you know, I'm not smoking or vaping. This is a humidifier behind me, so I do keep this room very, very humid, but more to come on that. So what am I going to do with all these plants, as I pretty much don't have room around me? As you can tell, the jungle is basically taking over this room. Some pretty exciting news that will be coming up at the Hillside Jungle. There will be a new plant room. Yes, an entire room dedicated to tropical plants and propagation, etc. So more to come on that. So please subscribe and stick around if you're interested in seeing how I'm turning an old spare bedroom into a tropical plant paradise. So let's go ahead and continue the tour of my other cuttings I have as we kind of approach the end of this video, where I will, remember, show you how to transplant this in a very special pot. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue this tour. Alright, so check out the coloration on this leaf. This is the Manjula Pothos. Now this coloration on this leaf, this is an absolute stunner for me. So check this out. It is kind of how it came kind of twisted up. Look at that. It almost looks like a camouflage pattern. There are the different variegations on it. Very, very, very cool. I really like this a lot. I really hope this plant does well. I think this is going to be one of my probably favorite of the new plants, even though it may not be really that rare or hard to find, quite honestly. So sometimes you just find a certain plant that catches your eye a certain way and you just kind of, I don't know, if there's just something about it. So hopefully this plant does well, and I will definitely show you the progress as we develop it here on the hillside. So let's see what else we have over here. All right guys, so what is next on this little houseplant tropical cutting tour? This is not ultra rare, it's actually fairly common. This is the Philodendron Brazil. These leaves do have remember, like a bi-color to them, as there's a darker part, then this is very light. I've seen other specimens that have a lot more coloration on it. I think it may be because it was in too much light that caused it to be basically washed out and very pale. So it's not a nutrient deficiency. It is doing quite well. If you look on the back side here, there is the coloration there that you're looking for. But all in all, the plant is very healthy. It's putting on new growth right here. So it may just be a lighting issue, that if I put it in a different area, maybe it'll bring out some more of the variegation on the future leaves to come. So that is the Philodendron Brazil. Like I said, not ultra rare, but you know, it's worth having just to add a little bit of character and a little bit of something different to your average philodendron houseplant that you may or may not have already in your home. All right, the next to last plant we're going to show here on this quick tour is the Philodendron Brandy, or the Brandtianum. I'll write it down below so I make sure I get it right. But I did have a question about this. It looks very similar to the Syndapsis pictus, or the Holy Syndaptis, I believe. I could be wrong, but it looks very similar to several other of the these type of plants. So I believe that this is an accurate description of what the plant is. But like I said, I got it as a single leaf cutting, a node cutting. No more leaves are putting it on. So maybe as it grows, it'll have more character and develop into something a little bit more different than others. But right now, this plant, I don't know what to think about it. You know, it's got some character. It's got some nice coloration on the leaf. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. It's just a typical heart-shaped arrowhead leaf form. But all in all, hopefully this plant does pull through and we get to see some more leaves on it. And maybe, like I said, it'll show as the new leaves develop, maybe a little bit more different coloration or different patterning, and it kind of just show its character and set it off from some of the other plants I have that look very similar, although not the same, but they're more similar, so it really doesn't help to give a lot of variety to this plant room, as it were. So I know you guys have been waiting a long time for the repotting. I'm down to the last plant. Let me show you, and I saved this last one on purpose because this is the Monstera Silpicana. So this, what I gather, is a fairly rare, it's not super rare, it's not super crazy expensive. This leaf is not doing very well. I mean, the plant is healthy. It is putting on new growth down here. So maybe this old leaf, just maybe it was where it was cut or in shipping or something happened to it, but it's, you know, it's in a good location. It loves high humidity. So I've had it in the greenhouse behind me here. So it has it's had plenty of humidity. It's been watered well. I think that maybe this old leaf here just is not happy. So hopefully this does pull through, as if you've seen any of this full-grown specimen of this Monstera Siltepecana, you will be fascinated. This is one I'm really hoping really pulls through. I really want to see this plant mature into its full form, because I do believe that this can and will be one of my more favorite plants. As you know, you can't pick your favorite. There are so many different plants in here that, you know, maybe just for this time being, I'm really pulling for this one, and maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know, but for right now, this is the one I want to do the best. So without further ado, let's get to repotting this rubber tree cutting that I took last winter, and kind of show you the process I go through and something very special about the pot that I'm going to be putting it into. So let's go ahead and stop wasting time, stop wasting your guys' time, and get right to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to that right now. Okay guys, so the reason you clicked on this video is to see the transplanting of a rubber tree, or maybe you just wanted to check out some houseplants, which I'm all about. But anyhow, I asked one of my coworkers who got a 3D printer if he'd make me a bonsai pot, and he obliged, and just as a fun experiment for himself. Now this is a pagoda style pot, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm not claiming to be a bonsai expert by any means, but check it out. It's got the little legs on it. There are 2 drainage holes in the bottom. And what I've done is I basically have pre-filled this pot with some of my houseplant mix, which is some coconut coir. It's got a lot of perlite and some houseplant mix, along with some sphagnum peat moss, just to get a rough estimate how much soil I'm going to need to transplant this. And it's going to be too much, because as you put this much dirt into this, there'll be some overflow, but I prefer to have more than not enough. So there's a tablecloth here on the table, so don't do this at home unless you have a tablecloth or something else, a box, a Tupperware, a container of some kind. But this is just going to be fun for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a mess and play in the dirt and plant this this tree up. So if you look at this mix right here, it is nice and crumbly. It's got a couple of the bigger pieces of the coconut coir, which is fine. The plants need a little bit of air in the soil, keeps them from getting waterlogged, and the kind of chunkier stuff like this, the coconut fibers, does help prevent waterlogging and does actually promote more drainage. So first things first, what I'm going to do is put a little bit of this dirt back in. I'm just going to put just a nice little layer on the bottom, and I may have to adjust, but for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So have you guys ever made your own bonsai pot before, or made your own bonsai tree? I've tried, I've dabbled a few times. I have a couple of trees outside that I'm working on, which I will probably show you this winter. No, this is not going to become a bonsai channel, but it is fun. It's like the idea of pruning and shaping your own bonsai tree, but not to the point that I'm fanatical about the rules and all the stylings and things like that. I just think it's a pretty cool little hobby, something to do. Am I going to try to make this into a bonsai tree? I don't know, maybe, but it's, for the time being, it's going to this bonsai pot, if not just to see how it looks and to watch it grow, just to kind of experiment and have fun with it. Because that's what it's all about, guys. It's all about having fun with your plants and just enjoying what you're doing, okay? It shouldn't be a chore. If you're not happy, if you're not having fun, then why are you doing it, right? So have fun with it, and let's go ahead and get this started. So if you've done this before, if this is the first time you've ever transplanted a pot, don't worry. All you're going to do is get your fingers around the stem of the plant, kind of turn it upside down for support, gently loosen around the pot. There you go, it comes out. And you can kind of tell this plant is ready to be transplanted, as the roots have basically reached the bottom of the soil mass here, but it's not spinning around. It's not super root bound, which you do not want. So right now this is a good root base. And like I said, I did take this from a cutting from this very plant right here. I gave one of the cuttings away, and the other one actually rotted inside the propagator. So this one is the last one I have as a survivor. But like I said, it's not difficult to make your own transplants and make your own cuttings and creating new plants. So what I'm doing here is just very gently kind of going around, careful not to break any of the roots. You watch a lot of guys take these like rakes and things, notice ripping at the roots and just tearing it apart, which is fine if that's something you're comfortable with, but I don't think it's necessary unless you're in some really overgrown root mass. You're literally just trying to reshape the entire base of what you're doing there. But see, that's much better. And look at the roots kind of hanging down here, this root mass there. This is a very healthy plant. And it's actually kind of cool how it's on the slope like that, which adds a little bit of character. As it's going to sit in the pot, it will actually add a little bit of more character to the plant as it's growing. At least that's what I've seen so far watching some bonsai stuff. And again, I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, but I'm having fun. So I think what I'm going to try to do is get a base for it. So that's a little bit too much centered, as you don't want it to be definitely very centered. We're going to go ahead and put it a little bit to the side there to add a little bit of optical illusion, as your eye line is going to kind of follow the trunk from the side here to the middle of the pot. And just from that, all I'm going to do is just very gently kind of backfill. Okay, this piece is a little too big. You don't want to have giant chunks of stuff in it. Little things, will help with it, aid with the drainage, I'm trying to say. But again, I put the same piece back in. This piece here is a little bit too big for this purpose. It'll go to another pot, another use. So go ahead and press this in gently. Make sure there's no real gaps in the air. And again, if you put too much dirt, that's fine. You can always take more off. But I prefer to have too much at first and then not enough, and then trying to backfill again and again to it. And again, let's just go ahead and fill it up over here. And you can tell the amount of perlite I have in here on the top. This will absolutely help with the water retention and drainage at the same time. So very beneficial for a small container like this to have good drainage. So I'm going to clean the rest of this up later, but this is just the finished product. And this is just how easy that was to take a cutting, let it grow out, and then transplant it into your own little pot. In this case, it's a little bonsai pot I had made for me, so that's pretty cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and water this in deeply with some rainwater I have collected from the rain barrel outside, and then put it back, back here in the jungle. Let it get acclimated to its new pot, which I don't believe is going to take much effort on its part, because as I showed you how easy it was to just very gently comb out the roots with your fingers, not doing any damage at all to the plant, transplanting it, and then putting it back in a nice little new pot there, watering it deeply, and setting it back up for success. So I hope you guys did enjoy hanging out with me here at the Hillside. Some new houseplant tropical cuttings, this new little bonsai pot I got, which is really cool. And just to show you that the results of taking the cuttings from this rubber tree, turning into a brand new plant, it's just that easy, it's just that fun. It's just an all-around great hobby, growing house plants or just plants in general here up on the hillside. So Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hope to see you again here next time on the Hillside, as you never know what we're going to get into. But like I mentioned before, it is getting to be September, which is fall here in the USA. And we're going to start transitioning to a lot more indoor videos because, well, it's going to start getting cold. And the growing season is going to be over pretty soon. So we're going to start doing a lot more tropicals, a lot more house plants and propagation indoors. So if that's what you're into, I will see you back here then. And you guys go out there and grow something different. Pick something different. Maybe it's a new flower, a new herb, a new plant, a new house plant. Find something different and go grow it. Don't grow the same old boring stuff over and over and over again, okay? Leave a comment down below what you've chosen to grow, what's different, what's new, and I'll see you back here on the Hillside next time around, guys. Until then, be good, go grow something, and I'll see you around.